Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly update show. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. If everybody had a good session, hopefully everybody had a great weekend, guys. Just do me a favor, take a second out. If you are enjoying the content and you're getting good value on a day-to-day basis, all I ask is kindly click a like, subscribe, share, all that good social media stuff. And again, I'll hopefully continue to add value. So again, big story over the weekend was the February 1st inception of tariffs, right? Taxes on Mexico and Canada, 25%, 10% on China. And the question was, well, how is the market going to respond? Obviously, there was no discussions over the weekend. There was absolutely no clarity, but we knew the sanctions work, the tariffs were going to kick in on Saturday. That's exactly what happened. You saw the futures Sunday night, NASDAQ futures down about 500 or so. It didn't have the same feeling as when we had the DeepSeek scenario or fiasco. And when you woke up this morning, everything was down, right? And you could tell, everything was down, everything was getting hit. The Qs lost all the levels that we spoke about on the weekend update, but it didn't give you that fear factor as the DeepSeek headlines did. And slowly but surely, again, you could look at the end of the day tally. You have the NASDAQ down 235 points, which obviously is it's not a small thing, down 1%. You got an S&P down 45 points or 0.7%. And the Dow almost went green in the day, finished down 100 points. But again, the Dow is kind of irrelevant. The most important part was, and we kind of talked about it in the webinar pretty much throughout the day, and we were prepared for it pretty well. And I tweeted out throughout the day, I expected some sort of dialogue to kind of start within the next 72 hours. Problem is, we didn't even get that 72 hours. Within the first 45 minutes of the day, you started seeing headlines that the president of Mexico and Trump had good dialogue. They agreed to certain things. Then slowly but surely, you started seeing headlines come across that Mexico got a 30-day extension, right? 30-day extension to kind of iron out some things. Again, remember, all this was done, and we talked about in the weekend update, because of the diplomacy card, right? Trump is trying to get some more things out of them. And again, this is what happens. It's called a bargaining chip. So in the headlines in the morning, around 10:30 in the morning, you got a nice, pretty big rip in the futures off the lows. And then you started hearing more headlines that, well, Canada is having a meeting with Trump in the afternoon. Trudeau's having a meeting. Well, let's see what happens then. And then after the close, you get headlines coming across that now Canada is getting a 30-day extension on their tariffs. And you see a pretty nice bump in the futures after the close. Again, wasn't as scary. Wasn't as scary at all. I know if you're if you're speaking from the investor side, yeah, absolutely. Probably got a little bit hairy this morning, but it was actually a pretty orderly day. Again, if you trade channels, and again, we trade channels. That's what we do. We trade channels going from supply to supply, demand to demand. We got some pretty good opportunities, especially Tesla in the morning. Tesla, again, which was very, very weird. It was the strongest stock in the last couple of days, and then gave us a really good trade, losing last week's channel. Give us a $7 candle here right off the word go into that 10 o'clock wash. And then obviously this candle here, just like everything else, was the Mexico extension. But again, it's not as bad as you think. I always try to rationalize, especially with new traders and new investors. The market is never as good as you think, and the market's never as bad as you think. Obviously, your process is going to be the difference between you getting ahead or kind of falling behind, but you never want to take the news cycle as the end all be all. There's a lot of moving parts, and we kind of knew, again, if you went through something like this for, in the past, it kind of came to memory. And again, like I was tweeting about this literally all morning about potential rally in the next couple of days. Because again, the longer it took to progress with dialogue, the higher probability that this was going to be a big deal. And I don't think anybody wanted that. And that's exactly what we got. So after the close, you got the Qs. Qs closed at 518, right? Closed at 518, below the 50-day moving average, which would have been kind of a big deal. But you look at after the close, the Qs are up about $3, reclaiming back the 50-day moving average, and everything else is spiky as well. Now, the question is, can the bulls hold on, right? Can the bulls hold on? If you look throughout the day, you had some pretty good names holding up very, very well. Meta had a great day. Absolutely great day. Meta was up at one point, $10, $11, $12 on the day. One of the very few bright spots showing strength. Amazon held up very, very well as well. At one point, Amazon was green. Again, basically closed fraction, right? Only down, what? Only down a nickel, only down a quarter. You had Netflix, right? You had Netflix went green on the day. So there was a lot of good strength. You had Google basically flat on the day, the whole day, closed down 2 and change, but it was, it was down. It was within 50 cents of going green. So the market held up very, very well. Some things did not, right? Some days did not. Apple did not. Apple continued its slide from the reversal from Friday's open. Again, was not one of the areas of the market that poured in strength. Again, it still has a lot of exposure in China. Again, I don't see a China extension coming anytime soon. But again, you never know, right? You never know. And that's the most important part. Maybe it happens by the time you watch this video. Maybe it happens tomorrow. Maybe it doesn't happen. But again, Mexico got done with the 30-day extension. Canada got done with the 30-day extension. Now we want to see the diplomacy kick in to see what happens with China. Going into tomorrow, you definitely have some stronger names. I want to watch Amazon. I want to obviously watch Meta. I want to obviously watch Google. But again, these names are very, very kind of an outlier compared to everything else. The semiconductors are still not good, guys. NVIDIA, which for some reason I forgot to talk about, over the weekend, closed the weekend below the 200-day moving average. And this is now the lowest close in the whole formation. It's obviously popping up with everything else, but NVIDIA really needs to wake the hell up and reclaim back the 200-day moving average. We saw some pretty aggressive put buying coming in on NVIDIA, including, I forgot what series it was, including the $90 puts. I don't remember what month, but I remember clearly seeing that $90 put buyer come in. And I was like, wow, it's a little wild. What's going to matter tomorrow in the semis is, I believe tomorrow you have AMD reporting, right? I believe you have AMD reporting. Let me just look at exactly who reports tomorrow. Let's see here. Tomorrow earnings, we got you got AMD tomorrow. You have Google tomorrow, which obviously is gonna be a big deal. AMD, I really hope, especially for the investors' sake, that they say something really, really good on their conference call, or who knows, maybe the stock is so oversold that even bad news will get the stock going higher. Just like kind of what we saw with Tesla. Tesla missed on both the top and the bottom and still rallied. The stock has been just decimated since losing the 50-day moving average in October. So who knows? So hopefully the investors will get a surprise tomorrow. The investors that are very, very happy, and this is starting to turn into a baby NVIDIA, is PLTR. PLTR had a great quarter, beat the top, beat the bottom line expectations. The AI revolution is strong and kicking, and the stock is trading north of $100 per share, which is absolutely awesome. The question going into tomorrow is, can the bulls sustain this move, right? Can the news of an extension be enough for the bulls to kind of wake up and start rallying tomorrow? Obviously, I will continue to look for any weakness, especially names like Apple. If Apple held on to the 150-day EMA here on the close, but again, what happens if it loses the 150-day moving average? Tomorrow, I want to keep an eye on Tesla. It reclaimed back today's channel and reclaimed back the 200-day moving average. I want to see, right? Excuse me, the 50-day EMA. I want to see if bulls can come back on, because remember, Tesla was very, very strong on Friday. The only reason it got pulled on Friday was when the tariff announcement came in. But it was very, very odd to see Tesla getting really aggressively hit today and traded almost all the way down into the 65-day EMA. So I want to see if the bulls rally tomorrow and Tesla starts building above today's channel. Can we squeeze back to that 395, possibly get back to the 399 50-day moving average? It's going to be very, very interesting to see. So tomorrow you got AMD, you have Google. Let's see if PLTR can kind of wake everything up, wake the semiconductors up, wake the data centers up, wake the uranium, the energy names up, everything that has to do with AI, to see if we could fuel a rally. But again, in this type of environment, folks, do not guess. I see plenty of traders talking about what they think is going to happen, what they believe is going to happen, what they hope is going to happen. Guys, it's either going to happen or not going to happen. You have to plan on both sides of the market. If you're an investor, again, stick to your guns. I don't know what your time frame is. I'm a trader. I trade both sides of the channels. There's supply and demand. I wait for confirmation. I'm not in the guessing game. I'm not smart enough to figure out where a stock is going to be 3 weeks from now, let alone 3 hours from now. But these are the channels that are telling us which way the wind is potentially going to go. We have really good pivots today. We had a great pivot on Tesla. Initially, it was my only trade of the day. We've had a $7 move off of last week's lows, and then we got a rejection for another move of Tesla. We had a nice little pop in NVIDIA towards the end of the day. But again, if you are patient and not resort to deviating for whatever process you have, you'll see that you'll have a lot easier time navigating a market than sitting there trying to outsmart it. Nobody is going to outsmart the market. Nobody has more money in the market. The market is the market. It's going to be here 200 years after we're gone. It was here, a long time before we were born. And the most important part is always trade with a healthy fear, right, of the unknown. But you never want to trade without doubt, with doubt. And that's the name of the game. Trust your process, whatever your process is, and make sure when the stars align, you strike with extreme prejudice. Guys, have a great night, everybody. Again, the market is wild, right? But again, if you are patient, you should be okay. Have a great night, everybody. God bless. I'll see you on the field tomorrow.